Hi, I'm Don Marshall, the Executive Director of the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival and Foundation.
Thanks, Don. Thanks for come to see us and answer the question to people in Russia who don't know much about jazz music in New Orleans. So I have a couple questions for you. Question number one: what is the role of Jazz and Heritage Foundation in life in New Orleans? A little history, if you could. Talk about present and future plans.
Sure. We're actually the non-profit or not-for-profit organization that owns the Jazz and Heritage Festival and also WWOZ Radio, which broadcasts the music and culture of New Orleans around the world. The festival was formed 40 years ago. This is our 40th anniversary. And at that time, it was established as a nonprofit organization so that we would take the proceeds or any profits from the festival and put them back into the community. We have a mission of supporting, promoting, perpetuating the rich cultural traditions and music of Louisiana. And we have had a very, very good years with the Jazz and Heritage Festival over this 40-year period. And we've developed numerous programs to help the community. But first, a little bit about the Jazz Fest itself. It was started in 1970. Leaders in the city got together and really wanted to create a cultural event that really represented the true rich cultural heritage of New Orleans. And they developed the Jazz and Heritage Festival, which was presented in what is now Armstrong Park. And for the first 2 years, it was presented with major international jazz musicians as well as our own local talent. We've always had a very strong commitment to the Mardi Gras Indian groups, our social aid and pleasure clubs, our unique indigenous culture, as well as the many varied music forms that came out of New Orleans and really out of the South. We've always included gospel, blues, traditional jazz, contemporary jazz, rhythm and blues. And there's always been a very large component of the folk art that's created in this region, as well as the incredible food and cuisine. So it started in 1970. It was a very small event. We actually had fewer people in the audience than we actually had on stage. And that's traditional with starting new events. It's something where it builds over the years. And after the second year, we moved out to the fairgrounds, which is the racetrack here in New Orleans. And since then, it's just continued to grow and grow. We have approximately 9 stages with performances going on simultaneously over 2 weekends. We operate for 7 days. And each stage has its own theme, whether it's Cajun Zydeco music, we have a blues tent, the contemporary jazz tent, a traditional jazz tent, and other stages that represent more Southern American popular music, as well as some of the other indigenous musics. And it's continued to grow, and we've been very fortunate with the proceeds from Jazz Fest to really be able to support our community, and particularly the musicians and cultural tradition bearers of this area. So we've developed numerous programs over the years. We have a community grant program which gives out funding to individual artists and musicians as well as smaller organizations throughout the community. We have a housing initiative which was originally developed to help musicians and artists purchase their first homes. Since Katrina, it has evolved into more rent subsidies to help our artists and musicians be able to have affordable rent. We have our Heritage School of Music, which is free after-school music training for our young musicians. And we've also developed a lot of economic development programs to send our musicians around the world. Since Katrina, we've also developed 5 new festivals that we operate annually. We're hoping to build those to the size of Jazz Fest. But we feel that we're a very important force in keeping the music and cultural traditions alive in New Orleans. It's always a struggle in the arts to be able to help fund and keep people well-fed, living in good houses, and supported within the economics. So that's been our main job, is really trying to keep all these people employed and alive year-round.
Great, Don. Can you tell a little bit more about the future? So what are your future plans?
Well, we continue to grow. Right now, we're currently taping inside of a building that we just purchased, which is a very large Greek Revival temple-style building that's next door to our offices here in New Orleans. Over the next year, we're going to be renovating this facility into a performance space so we can have regular jazz club-type events. Also, more educational activities after school and on weekends. In addition to music, we're going to be adding dance classes and some of the folk art traditions, teaching those and passing them on to young people. Our biggest initiative has really been how to promote our musicians and to help them secure work around the world. So we've developed a very imaginative website that allows interested parties and festival producers and club owners to go to our site and find the best Louisiana talent. The site also allows you to listen to some of the music that they perform, contact information, and we're developing other ways through travel grants and other things to help support getting our musicians and artists to other countries where they can perform and exhibit their work and hopefully develop new audiences. So we've got a lot of really exciting projects. Our new festivals, our 5 new festivals are growing every year. That provides employment for our musicians. We also have a strong commitment to the chefs and the wonderful people who create the fantastic cuisine that's unique to New Orleans. So at all of our festivals, we have opportunities for them to sell their prepared food. At Jazz Fest, we have over 120 different food booths with all kinds of wonderful foods that are unique to this area. So we're looking for ways all the time to expand our impact on the community.
Thank you, Don.